hey, it's me. Let's see what to look. So we shall start with a base. Okay. So there are a lot of different things I switched in between on around the Born This Way time period, but I don't think that matters so much in showing you how I do a base. So I was really into these Tom Ford foundations. I recently rediscovered them and I am now back into them. So the skin tone changed a lot because of tanning products and things like that. So that's why I have so many different colors for one person. So I do like to use a foundation brush like this. At the time, I was using those brushes, and I had just gotten sent these brushes that I was kind of into as well. Also the Armani brushes. I like those for like preciseness. This is a number 2 Pale Dune in the Tom Ford foundations. So I'm like, okay, here, do a little squiz of that. You kind of like can't care if you're gonna waste. That's just part of the deal. We have a number 4, a bisque, and we'll do a little squiz of that. So is 6 sable, I think, but maybe we'll just like squirt a tiny bit of sable. So we have 2, 4, and 6. As you can see, number 4, which is in the middle, is looking way darker and warmer than 6, which is on, where's the camera, which is here. And then I like to mix everything together. Normally I would go into these Chanel ones as well, but I can't get them to squirt out. So I'm just like being real with you. So I love these Vita Lumiere Aquas by Chanel, and I have a lot of them in like all different colors. And I also love LeBlanc, and I mix that in, and that comes out like that white stuff. It's really pretty. 22 Beige Rose, just a dab. And yes, this craziness is how I work. 10 Beige, little dab of that. Oh yeah, that's beautiful. It actually looks the closest to about where I'm at. And then we have 20 Beige. Why not, you know? So now we have this happening. So what I would do at this juncture is take my brush and my stipple MAC 1 missing number in the middle 7. Looks like that. It's one of my favorite foundation brushes. Just stipple it in there and just kind of go to town a little bit gently, you know. But since this will be stage makeup that we want to stay on the skin for 2 hours or more through dancing and singing and bright lights, big city. But we also don't want it to look like a cake face, you know? You want it to stay and look beautiful, but be able to be photographed and look beautiful. So, you know, there's a line you have to dance on. And I would just take the foundation over the lids instead of using a primer, because you're already using all these products on the skin. You don't need to. I wouldn't buy like a specialty lid primer at this point, because I was already going through so many steps. I wouldn't have added another step to the routine, if that makes sense. It's only when I'm not doing a full face of makeup on myself that I use an actual like lid primer. So you just like I'm continuing to like swirl into here, and then using that to just stipple it up. And I'll also want to dip into dip, because it is stage makeup. Now these La Mer concealers, they are discontinued, which is very sad. I had them, lots of them, in light, medium, and dark. And it's not a broad range, to be fair, because all three of these I would use on Gaga, and that's one person. So if one Caucasian person can wear all three, can wear their entire shade range, you know, I guess it leaves much to be desired. But they are beautiful, and the formula was beautiful. So I would dip into, this is the light for me because I'm quite pale right now. But if I had a little spray tan going, I could probably dip into the medium. But I'm also going in under the eyes. So I already dipped into my little mixture on the back of my hand. So I already have a little bit of this like more warmer tone situation. And then I added a little bit of the light. Now, since this is a thicker, creamier formula, I would dab a little under each eye because, you know, the initial touch that's going to come from under here is going to be mainly that light foundation. And then you're going to get a more evenly distributed from what's the back of my hand. That makes sense, because first I swirled on the back of my hand and then I tipped into the light. So the first thing on the brush that's going to come off is the light concealer and then the foundation. Hope that wasn't too confusing. I almost confused myself, so I wouldn't blame you. So under the eyes, the high points of the face, we're going to start bringing in a little bit of concealer. So like a little bit of a thicker product. And I literally just am going to pat it a little bit. And if whoever's makeup you're doing had any blemishes or anything, and they weren't being covered by your foundation, you would want to go in at this point and start covering those. Now, I'm doing a light little tapping of the concealer on the lids. This is like my primer. Now, another good thing about this concealer is that it's very creamy and very moisturizing. So it doesn't start to like cake up. It really just like creams on out. Now at this point you might be thinking, well, that's a lot of makeup. Oh girl, we ain't even getting started. Because this is stage makeup. So, you know, people who are out there way up on the stands, you want them to be able to see those beautiful facial features. So now we're at this point. Alright, so I do love to layer the stains so they can really like set in and get beautiful. By the time the glam is done, the stains are like set into the lips and like are a part of you. So for under the eyes, any sort of translucent setting powder will work for this. Set it and forget it, baby. So anywhere somebody could possibly, you want to just like start around those parts so you can start adding your color and contour. Let's do a brow first. I like to build a brow because it is the frame of the face. And once you have a brow in place, you can then be like, it helps you to understand where everything else should be. So I used a lot of these. These are the Anastasia tinted brow gels. Depending on the color of the wig that night, I would use a different color. I personally do not have a lot of brow hairs, so I wouldn't use these heavily on myself. So like if you're recreating this look on someone who has brows like mine that are not really there, this is what I would recommend. So I'd start with a clear. So now they're all facing the right direction. So I would use something like this that has colors like this. Or, you know, it's not that difficult to use brow colors. Like I got this palette, this Natasha Denona palette in a box, you know, beauty box. And I would say this one, and this one would be great for brows and for the eye contour. I'm going to use it for the eye contour today. So we're back here because I am lighter and more fair. I'm going to use the darker colors, like the middle and the outer, because we are doing like a tour stage look. And this brush from, I was going to say NARS, but it's Chanel. So this one's great for people with larger brows, natural brows. And like for this, I already put product on it, so let's just, let us begin. So for my smaller, sparser brows, this guy, this NARS one, that's what I need. So I'll go into the same colors. And now I can really like, I'll get real close for you. I can really get up in there. I'll like get in here and start really sculpting this brow using these powders. I mean, you want to follow the natural brow, but at the same time you want it to be like theatrical. And now for tour, etc., I like to bring that out and exaggerate it so that it's very like just a little bit longer and more, a little more angle right here, which is why I love this brush. And I might even pull back out the other brush that I was just using, because with this brush, the Chanel one, I can now, because the bristles are so stiff, there's like no give to them, which is really good when it comes to drawing this. So like you place it right here where you want that arch to be, and it almost like does it for you because the bristles have like zero give. So you place it there and then kind of just like drag it out, and you see it like creates that for you. Now on me, because like I said, I don't really have much of a brow and my brow bone tends to get oily, so I would take these Kevyn Aucoins, this is the one in brunette, and go over the tail of it because it will sharpen it up and it will make sure that this is not going anywhere. And now I will take the dark brunette and I will make this even more intense because we're doing a stage look. And now I will go in with my mighty Q-tips and I will just clean up this tail a little bit. Alright, so we're finished on that side brow. Let's get this brow in place. Alright, so let's just even out this brow sedge and then we'll move on to the next thing. And to let you know, believe it or not, we were down to some nights show glam, getting it done in a half an hour, never over an hour. By the way, what I just did was I took a little highbrow benefit. Instead of applying it directly, I did a little doot with the brush. I know people do that with concealer and stuff, but I like to avoid adding layers and layers and layers of thickness. Now, what I might do now, because I don't have my beloved Albatross, is take this MAC white pigment powder. And literally, with this powder, I've never had to do anything beyond taking this little lid off and gently dipping my brush on the lid. And then you put the lid back very gently because you don't want it to spill. And then you can take the gentle amount that's on the top of there, blot it in your hand, and just go in on that brow. I start with going in on both because the product is so intense, and just that tiny dab gets so much that you want to spread the love around. Also, I've never done these looks on myself before, so that makes a difference between doing the same look or working on the same face that you've done that look on a million times and doing a look for the first time on someone, even if it's you. So that was the white. See, it just got like a little brighter. All right, so why I was building the stains is because this is what we're using. That's what I was using on the lips. Now these are like my holiest of grail, and I'm very sad. These were discontinued quite a while ago, and then Becca, now they're going out of business, and I could not be sadder because of these particular products, the beach tints. So just watch how amazing these are. So during glam, I would be layering these. Because they really quite beautifully set into the lip and look like a natural lip. And then I would take the remains of the day and kind of just like, just because I don't like to waste product if I don't have to, onto this MAC. All that's left on it is MAC in Japan, so you know, I don't know, but it looks like that. And see, I have a little bit left because I always squirt out a little too much. And I would go, you know, because it's good to have a little cream underneath your powders. I would do a little bit of this and be like, oh yeah, there you go. Smile, yeah. Just do a little contour with that color because it's such a beautiful color. And you just get that in there for like that little base color added. Oh yeah, it's gorgeous. I want to say this is Melba from MAC, but to be completely honest, that could be wrong, and the thing is worn out on the bottom, so not like a ton of product on there. Because remember, I have cream, a little bit of that cheek tint here, and it can kind of like grip, you know, and we don't want some unnecessary weird blotching. And then a little extra that's on there here. Now, I didn't do a ton of like forehead contouring because you gotta remember Freddie's either in the process of or has already put or is about to put a wig here, and so he needs this space very clean. But for you at home, if you're not gonna wear a wig, you know, do whatever you want. Now this is Gilda. I use a lot of Gilda, so I'll do a little tap So you can't even see what's on the brush, so there's like not much on there. And I just like to contour with blush. Now why, you may wonder, am I not like using a shit ton of bronzer? I don't know, it's like on stage, blush really photographs and looks like bronzer. It contours the cheeks in like a healthy, beautiful way that once the person starts to sweat and flush, it just goes well. It's just what I do, okay? And then, once again, we take out the translucent, a big fluffer like this. I do it in the lid, like I tap and then I go in the lid. And you want to do this away from the person if they're a performer, especially if they're vocal warm-upping, because when they inhale this, it may be not super enjoyable. Find that out the hard way. Now we're moving on to the eyes. I didn't always have time to do this first step. So a lot of times, to be real, pretty much every time I was just doing straight up, you're starting with the liquid eyeliner. That's what you have time for. But today, I'm gonna start with eyeshadow because ideally, for the best set, you're gonna have eyeshadow and then the other steps. And it's best for the placement and to get the line perfect. So I'm going to use a shadow. I would usually do like the base and the shape and that contour first. So let's do that. So for these things, I feel like you can really use whatever eyeshadows you have. I know a lot of you ask me like, what shadow or what color did you use for this contour? My answer is like whatever you have. So for instance, I have these Tarte ones, but these are too shimmery. I like matte for these kinds of looks. So I do use these Natasha Denona ones a lot for liner. I'm probably going to use two of these for the contour. But let's check this. I've actually never used this palette before, so this will be interesting. So I'm gonna try this like nude color for a base. Okay, so I dipped into this guy right there because he looks the most like a natural skin tone-y, and I'm just going like that. So we're just dipping and getting in there. Yep. And I don't go past the crease with these because I want the brow bone to stay real light. We'll probably brighten it up even more. For the brow bone, you can go with a little shimmer. So again, with this guy, I now like this hourglass highlight. This is incandescent strobe light. And I would go do and just trace that brow. We might need a little more of this highbrow right in here. Yeah, that's the stuff. That's what we need. And the texture of this is a little more like, not oily, but it's more of like a, how do I describe it? It's like the texture of almost like grease paint. So then let's kind of like set that. Treat it like a concealer. Use this fluffy little MAC 286, whisk it in there like a baker, and just, yeah. So that that brow bone is like popping. We're going to take a brush like this, but it doesn't have to be this. Something that's just shaped like that. So I'm gonna take this Denona. I think I liked this one, so let's try it. And you know, it's all about experimenting too. But something like that that's really matte. It might have been the gray one, we'll see. I'm gonna start going in on right here and just like carve that crease out. And you wanna do it kind of like this if it's on yourself, because you obviously can't close your own eyes. I mean, you can't like do it with your eyes fully closed, and if you try to, like squint one eye, it can get a little weird. And don't be afraid if you get it on the lid, because we can always make that lid pop. And you see I'm kind of like dragging it out a bit, because we are going to make the eyes, pull them out. Now, I'm not totally happy with how hard that crease is, so I'm going to go in with this weird kind of like muddy camel color. Remember, this is like stage to the streets. So you want someone to like be able to see their big, beautiful eyes from out there. We still have a ways to go with the liner and such, so I will like make the lids pop and stuff after I do the liner. I normally would, to be real, start in with the fluid line right away because I wouldn't have the time. But for you, my friends, I am going to, and that is nice. I'm gonna start creating a line with some shadow because, you know, in a perfect world, you would do shadow first and then layer the fluid line and then something else that I will show you to really get that staying power. Okay, so I'm just gonna like dip it in here and let's begin. So the look I am choosing to recreate today is one of my favorite variations. So to get your right angle that you want, where the wing is pointing at the tip of the brow, okay? You're gonna wanna go foo-foo-fee-doo, okay? Now the great thing about lashes, when you're using lashes, as opposed to creating a look when you don't have lashes, is they really help you cheat. So lashes have a band of their own that is kind of like a liner. And so if I was doing this and I was not using lashes, you really have to be oh so much more perfect. So this, oh yeah, this is the Chanel brush. This is like the only eyeliner brush I'll use. There's a little imperfection here that if I was doing this for a show, I honestly would not have the time to fix, so you have to be perfect. But right there, yeah, that's so much better. So we have a nice little shape there. Making them match is more difficult. But there's the top. Now for the bottom, you want to look and go, okay, so I want to match this. But you want it to be under the eye in a flattering place. So for every eye, that's going to be in a different, you know, placement. And you want the lines to be far enough away from one another that they do read as separate. Know what I'm saying? And I do like to kind of angle it down a little bit, like here. So it's a little like that. So it kind of like opens it up again. Everything's about opening and up. Open and snatch. Where they stop in the eye also affects like how much it opens the eye and how much it closes it off. I feel like right there where I brought it, I might have brought it a little too far, where it now starts to close the eye off. So you can play with it a little. Like, if I take away a tiny bit on the bottom, see, it just opened my eye up a little bit. So I'm a little bit of a psycho perfectionist. So I think that the corner here is a little too thick, and if I take just a tiny bit away on the top, you see what I'm saying? So like where it begins, I made it match up with the lash line. And often when you take a little bit away and it doesn't actually go to the end of the lash, so like I made it now start there. So like my lashes end here, but I made the liner end here, which might seem weird. Like, don't you want to bring it to the end of your eye? Great question, Tara. If I bring it here instead, you know what? I've just decided I'm going to change it all. If I make the lift begin here at the corner of my eye, I've just made an executive decision. By experimenting. Okay, here we go. So here's what I've just noticed. On my eyes, if I start here, so my lashes end here, okay? It seems like you would want to bring it to the end of there, but here, now that I've added the lift tape, my lids don't droop, so, which I've honestly never worn this myself. So it's adjusted where I can actually do the liner. Usually I start my liner in a different place, but I feel that now it's changed the shape of my eye and thus where I would put my liner. I hope this is making sense to not just me, which is why I think it would be helpful to use your tape at the beginning. Alright, so I like that. And I think I could bring it a little more, which is thin. Now, they do seem a little far apart now that I've changed where that is. So we'll see how that goes. I think maybe I should even it out and do the other side. I find this is the most difficult part. It's getting the symmetry correct. The more dramatic the eyeliner, the more difficult the symmetry is. So, lining up with your eyebrow, the tip of it, dragging it down is helpful since the brows are so dark and dramatic. I want to make sure you can see what I'm doing. And that I can get this right all at the same time. See, I actually like that side better. I think I'll start here on this one. Yeah, that worked out a lot better. Okay. Well, you live and you learn, right? Yeah, that one looks way more beautiful than that side. Alright, so let's just do this. Because it's that part that's really bugging me. Okay. And then I'm going to do, so I'm going to like fix, yeah, you can probably see the concealer that was there. I just want to like re-even it out so that there is a primed space for that liner and it's not just sitting on bare skin where it'll like slip around once hypothetically this person starts performing. Alright, so in this case we've now discovered that You know what? It's just different sides of the face, okay? That side looks way thinner than that one. This shall be fixed. Because we have layers to go, so let's get into it. So I'm going to now go into the ink Blacklist gel liner. And this is how I do it. I do a little dippity dip dip. And then I put it on the back of my hand. This is why I always have stuff in the back of my hand that people think is a tattoo, but it's not. So this is a little drier than fluid line, but I'm sure it'll work out just fine. So the reason why I smeared on the hand first is because I don't want to go in on a line that's been done and make it and have too much product on my brush. So I go over what I did. So this stuff is drier than black track or whatever. We just go over the same thing with this. Best eyelash curler, Chanel. This is how we curl. To the base and squinch. Don't catch yourself or the person's skin in there. Maybe do a little upturn motion. Looks a little crazy, but does great work. If you do catch yours or the other person's skin in there a little bit, you will know, because they will react. So whatever mascara is your choice, your delight. I like to do a little primer to protect my lashes. We're gonna do that quickly, real quick. I squiz it like that on my tray, and I dip them evenly into the glue. Evenly, but I'm not stingy. And then I set them back in their tray, because if we're gonna be doing a show, I don't want no lashes flapping off in the middle of the show. Get it up so they're coated, they're like that, okay? Then you let them sit there, you let them dry a little before you even get them near the eye, okay? So this is a great time to little touchy touchies. That's what you are, okay. So now I might go, I mean, I just noticed there was like a little crunchy happening here. So I'm gonna go and clean that up. Oh yeah, that's great. And I'm also going to take my white again, my MAC. What is it called? It's like the pigment, but it's white. Okay. And remember, just the lid. You don't need anything more than that. I like to flip over the lid and the cap, like so. I'm gonna use this guy again, actually. I really like him. I'm just gonna tap him on the white and go in the corners. How you doing down here, lashes? Oh, they're still wet. Okay. And they're too wet to put on the eye, because if I put them on right now, they're gonna just smear everything. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna just start to contour the lip a little bit. So this is Rum Raisin Bobbi Brown. You see that stain is still looking beautiful. The more you can layer like the stay-on products like liners, stains, literal stains, the more throughout somebody singing with like a mic and everything, the more they will have lipstick on throughout the whole show. That will be perfect. For me, how are the lashes? They're ready. We're gonna use this tweezer, okay? And you want to think about it like you're entering from above, okay? So this is obviously much easier to see on your client or another person than yourself, but I've known artists too who literally will cut pieces, which, you know, we all do, but will literally cut pieces and place them on the actual lashes at an angle. Like, not even put them to the base, which is fine, but to be honest, that would never last a show. What I do in order to add to the lift is I put the corner of the lash on that eyeliner line. So you kind of like cheat the side of the eye up, okay? So the side of my natural eye is down here, okay? But I put the corner of the lash where the eyeliner line is higher. So I placed the lash up there. And that's the great thing about if someone's wearing lashes, is that it gives you a lot more wiggle room to play with the eye shape and line. So you're able to do a lot more things where you can cheat the angles and stuff. Now that's obviously a very dramatic lash. That's meant for stage. And reads really well on stage. So let's do the other one before it dries out, shall we? You want this to be perfectly lined up. Right there. And this edge to be perfectly lined up with the eyeliner so that it creates this beautiful dramatic lift. So Spice is great for lining any sort of a nude peachy lip and contouring it. These Charlotte Tilbury ones are really good. There's Kevin Aquan ones that are gorgeous. I just don't know where they are right now, so. Just like the staying power is quite different than using a lipstick, you know. To finish the lip for right now, I'm gonna go into this Bobbi Brown palette, which has everything a girl could possibly want. But you know me, or if you do know me, you're gonna take this brush and we're gonna kind of play around. Like, I want some of that. I want some of that. And I definitely need a little of that. And I need my mirror for sure. Gonna, oh yeah, blend these together. It kind of took us back to that original stain color. But now we're like 4 layers deep, so it's really gonna stay. Yeah. And to be honest, every time it's a little different, but has the same effect. Then comes another one of my top secrets. So for every day, for tour, everything, this stuff is tops. Now we need to do another layer of eyeliner, obviously. So for this I use Point Black. This is MAC, and this is waterproof AF. So we also use this for the beauty marks. Let's say we're doing the one where we did a beauty mark right here. So I put it on the back of my hand like I do, and then we just go over the liner.